Hello, good evening, friends. My all internet friends and the virtual friends, my colleagues. This is Sat. I am Sat Puram Singh Khalsa. I'm a membership PCC coach and helps the business people to, in fact, increase their profit by about 50% in 6 months' time with the entrepreneurs when I work. And I help the executives earn more praises when they want from their leaders. Apart from this, I'm also director of training with Alpha Stars. For the innermost shift coaching model has been developed by us. It's based on one very profound intervention called neuro-linguistic programming. Rest of the things you can read on our website. I'll straight away come to the topic. And the biggest challenge that the coaches face is to get more clientele. And I hope every one of you would agree to this. And the coaches are not the entrepreneurs. That's what I want to begin with. Then also not the salespeople. And most of them don't have any sales and marketing background. What they have is a very burning desire or a passion somewhere to help people and add values to people's life, and then in the process to get enriched by it. Now the question is that how do you engage your client in a thought-provoking dialogue so that you help your client to reflect on the importance of the missing pieces. That's what the coach is good at and has not to in fact sell. I just heard some of you are ICF qualified. I do not know rest of you people about your background or you're undergoing training or have undergone training. Now, in our innermost shift coaching model that we teach and we train people on 168 hours, we have a very profound model called IC Probe Gap. It's a very profound model and a framework to, in fact, structure the session, in which the I part is the introduction, the insights, and it is about 7 I's I'm going to explain you. And after completing the 7 I's, the coach is expected to, in fact, contract and consolidate the client's requirement.
Hi, someone is using the screen. I don't know how, but to draw some things and you're writing something on the screen. Can you please not do this?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So let's continue. And the C part is in which you contract and consolidate the requirement and take the client's commitment. And wherein the P part is that you first understand the problems of the client and probe the possible gap the client has it. Thereafter, the another P part is that you start finding a positive impact the changes the client is looking for will make. And the R part is that the client has to be brought to the resourceful state. And then with the resourceful state, the O part is that you generate various options and the future outcomes. It's kind of taking a client in trip to the future and have the unconscious and conscious mind come out with several choices and the options the client can generate, and then allow it to integrate back so that the B part is the client is biologically and bioneurologically integrating the new energy from the future. And then next E part is evaluating that how much energetic shift client has made. And thereafter we work with the gap part, that is what goals now client is ready to set and what action now client is ready to take, and then what is the possible parameters and the progress client can track. Now that's a complete structure we give through our IC probe gap. This structure is well taught to the people who have undergone training. And the I part has in fact 7 I's, and we thought that let it be open to the word and a message, and so that the other can also benefit from the first part of the I's. And now let me take you through one by one, because if a coach has not to sell, then something has to be done very differently. And the first part of that is that interaction, that how do you interact with the client. And interaction can happen before you meet the client even, or you send mails or mailers. And the 7 parts are the introduce coaching to the client, give insights to the client, then to insight the client, and implicate, though is a word here, but we use it with that. Implicate means that now you bring the client under your net of offering and delivery that you're going to make with integrity, and make client understand the importance, and bring the client to a level that client become really interested, and client become interested, that you are not interested in the client here. The client has to be very much interested in you. And how do you transit all the 7 stages in this 7 eyes part? I'm going to take you one by one, and later on I'll take some questions. Now, first is that very often the coaches introduce, and before that they interact. And here we have, you know, a kind of a pundit the word. It's called interact. And I'm not saying that you communicate with the client or you ask the client. It's about how do you interact, and which ultimately means that somehow you make the client internally act in the direction the client is wanting to. So how to build that internal state in the client, because human beings are governed by their state. For example, if right now I put a question to you, that how would you use the money you earn from the paid client in 3 sessions that I help you to get? Now, what is so different about this statement? This statement is presupposing that you would earn money and you would use money and you will have money to spend. Now, this is kind of at a very unconscious level, preparing your mind to, in fact, accept my proposal. But how am I offering this proposal? That's a big question. So your interaction part is that to make the person internally get into a direction of the outcome. Because now I am stating it because I know that you are here to, in fact, get profit, whether a monetary profit or the value proposition or value profit from your clients. So if I offer directly, what values you would get and how would you utilize those values? My focus is directly on the outcome at the end of it. So a focus to build the internal state of the client so that the client act in the direction of the outcome has to be the prime purpose of your entire interaction. Whether you interact through your website, it's a passive interaction, or you make a phone call, you send a mailer, or you design the multiple mailers, or you have a campaign, or you design your session, or you are just because you've been referred by your friend, a client before you, or you're in a coffee shop and you happen to come across someone whom you're casually or formally coaching. So change the like the word that you use um, from communication to interaction, so that you are interacting, you are making the client act and internally building a state. So this will, as a coach, shift your focus that am I really building this state? Because people act from a state. If you're in a good state, you act good. If you're in a bad state, you act bad. In a fearful state, you only fear. So what state you want to build in your client so that the client, in fact, heads in the direction of the outcome. And your outcome with the client is that client must sign up and must get benefit from what you're going to offer. So the first input here to the people who are attending the right now webinar is that in your mental domain, replace the word from communication to interaction with the client, whether you do it before formally, informally, or you organize it, or you have a couple of people before you. Next thing is that use your interaction to gather some data. You put a query form, you float a format for them to answer, you put them few questions, or you in person. You have to gather some data about the client, and which is required. You must have right information. That what is the world looking for? What are the people looking for? So this will happen if you are very clear about that. What is your niche? What have you decided for? And how are you positioning yourself? And in the domain that you want to work on, what's going on there? So people are always working on something. So there is nobody in this world who is not working on something. So until you have some idea that what are they working on, you cannot put anything. So you have to ask and explore that what is the client working on, the niche that you are focusing on, what are they working on, and in this context that you're going to offer them your coach services. I'll just give a brief example here. For example, I don't know how many of you really specifically work on a particular niche, because most people tend to call themselves as life coaches or business coaches or relationship coaches. I'll take an example here. Let's say you have a relationship coach. Are you working to add more strength to the relationship, or you want to build more understanding in the relationship? Then whose relationship you are working for? Is the team relationship you are working for, or the just married couples relationship you are working for? So the more you're clear about that, like I came across a coach and he gave me a wonderful insight, and it was a good learning for me. He said that, I work for the married couple relationships just after the newborn kid. Now it's very specific. He has a very clear idea about that something the client is working on. Like just after the first kid, usually the biological cycle of the parents that get disturbed, their romantic life is haywire for a long time, and the newborn kid is naturally loving to both. So he could understand that what's happening in the life of the just newborn baby, where the married couples are there, the possible interaction between them stops. Issue about the baby, problem about the baby, joy about the baby increase. So even the good thing sometimes can put us apart. So the newborn baby might put both uh, parents little apart. They might be quite bonded to the kid, like in the metaphorical sense. Nowadays family people sit before the TV, both are glued to the TV more, but to less to each other. And TV can be actually put out and shut off, but newly born kid cannot be. They are a part of life. So what is client working on? In this context, you're going to offer them the services. If you have a good idea about it, your offering will become less selling and more pulling. So then ask yourself and explore to work out that what is the client wanting on whatever is client working on. What is the client wanting? And then what is the client waiting to make that happen? So something client is waiting for. So if your questions and if your mental focus shifts on understanding that what's client working on and what is the client wanting and what is the client waiting to make happen, that's where, if you think that what can you deliver to the client, that client is not even waiting or wanting to happen. For example, in this case, when the newborn baby is there, client is in fact unaware of that. They're waiting to and wanting to happen more love, more bondage within. And that's where you get a bit of insight. There'll be a spark within them. There'll be a spark of, something will kindle in them. Yeah, I think it makes a sense. And I'm not doing this, or this is really missing part. And I want to, in fact, bridge this gap here. So this is where, once you explore this, you start building your whole introduction about it, which means here that I find that most coaches introduce themselves as I'm a business coach, I'm a life coach, and they miss out this part that what exactly you do. And let's understand here that if you have to build and build a powerful state in people. It's like calling that you are creating an emotional appeal. So the brain has a very middle part which is very emotional. So human beings take decisions emotionally and justify them very logically. Now look around everything that you have. Wherever you have paid extra money or extra bucks, it could be in Starbucks, you have end up paying more money for the coffee that you know just cost $30 and you pay $250, or you pay $2.50 and you know that doesn't cost penny. Or it may be a Allen Solly big brand shirt. You know that in the market the cost of clothing and cutting and tailoring would be much less than, and you find it every single day, but you end up in paying more price for that, more thinking or perceiving more value for that. It's just because you have built a powerful emotional appeal in them. Now here the coach has a very ethical delivery, that emotion has to flow from a value. Until you have a value inside and your emotion doesn't generate the look or hunt for a big value, the client is never going to sign up with you, and you're going to sell them, tell them, and then maybe push them, and it's going to work. So if you have done this part well, the exploratory and the discovery part or the asking part you've done well, you are now positioned very well. And that begins with first deciding, see, called the ideal client. Okay, so if you ideal word, you put ideal, the client ideal with, who is your client and what's going on in the life of that client. So you're just not in the market, okay, I'm here to coach people and have a handsome target of making 6 lakhs in a year just from my first coaching year practices. I mean, that kind of goals do not get accomplished because the figures remains figures in the mind and people become disfigured. So if you really figure out, rather than just focusing on what is the figure that you're keeping in market, find out that who are the people I want to deal with, and how much they want to get enriched with, and how you must explore. So get some good information about them until you have a good knowledge bank and information what's happening in their life. And I always, and me and Sri both was a co-trainer with me in our workshop, tell people that the greatest book or a scripture to read in life is the life itself. The life happening all around is communicating you and interacting with you, in fact, and is putting you in several states. And when you get affected by the happenings of life, that's where the opportunity is there. So every single suffering and every single challenge that you face is in fact giving you some insight to design your own proposition or a proposal, or to place yourself or position yourself. And there is no shortage of such problems. So having explored, you start building your introduction around it. So you then introduce coaching. What coaching is? So specifying first what coaching is not, in fact, is a good step for a coach to position himself. And start using a good metaphor that coaching is not mentoring. And you must know the one liner here. Mentoring is about when someone does a good job and want other person to just follow that piece of excellence. And training is about something which client hasn't done and initiating the client to those behaviors and action and going on with the client until client has really done it. Counseling is about, in fact, helping the client or pacifying the client or making a client come in term with something has happened. And consulting is when you have some expertise from some area of life or some experience of life and you want to give some tips, and they become the experts for the client. Now all these are very, 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 very good interventions. You're going to tell the client, because client has used all this for whole year of and all the years of their life. So if you reject them, the coaching is something very wonderful and mentoring is not. Coaching is something wonderful and training is not. Coaching is something great, counseling is not. Coaching is something really, really wonderful, and consulting can never be. I mean, that's where you kind of a piss off the client, because something that you have done for your own training, you have taken the training as a coach, and you start deselling training, it won't work. So position that though coaching is not art, about all this, coaching too does a wonderful job, and maybe I can make you experience how it's different. And it can be experienced better than can be told. So you're gonna give a more good metaphor here. That something can be experienced, can never be told. So coaching is just like a vanilla, until you really have it. It's like a salt to the life until you really taste it. It's not gonna ever be in your knowledge and awareness. So the best thing is just go through it. So use a good feeling language here, you in your communication or in your interaction, and not say have it. I mean, just go through it, have an experience. And those of you are now well trained with the motion coaching model, this is here where you gives the unconscious embedded command that until you have have a wonderful experience here. So start building a wonderful state. And if you're using the passive communication, like through your slides, make sure that you have good analog marking on those slides and they could be unconscious. So, what coaching is not, and then mention what coaching is, and then start explaining that. That mention in very two simple sentences as much possible the model, the tool, the method that you will use here. And you must have a good preparation for that. And what will be that? So if you are associated with your coaching body, you do introduce with a pride here that I am trained in 11 competencies and I follow the ICF ethics. Now, this is here where, whole life we learn that to project ourselves bigger than what we are. And, right from the childhood we are conditioned, we want to wear the parents' clothes, their sunglasses, and hold, a stick like a so-called a teacher. And every positive psychology tells us, project yourself much bigger, much bigger than what you are. Now, here, just mention what you are here. I have just completed 84 hours of coach-specific training and have trained in my class 6 or 7 people in my coaching sessions. So be clear here. And then what is your coaching model? How will you coach? What is this coaching model about? And like our coaches tell, I'm an most shift coach and I'm from Alpha Stars, from ICF, ACTP. And if these terms are not in the awareness of the client, make sure that you have first introduced them. What is ICF? What is ICF not? Okay. And what tools and practices you use as a whole when you work with the coaching model. So this is what your introduction has to be. So using the best life practices and adopting the best life sciences. I use the neurolinguistic tools, or if you use a CBT or whichever model, do mention here so that you're very clear in your introduction. But your introduction here has to be very much success oriented. And that will only build up if you're very clear about what do you do, like, and what you're going to offer them. So I'll just give you a couple of examples that, well, I make the uh, first 30 days of job count for you to match your promises, and you earn praise with that. So until you really offer in your introduction a piece which emotionally appeal to the client and which can really benefit, you have missed out the first few seconds. So I would always suggest that even these come secondary. First talk about that. What will be your delivery? I coach the managers to grow into leaders in 6 sessions when they have a chance to grow it. So mention here something that can, well, I can help you exceed more than 20% in your weight loss goal with 20% less efforts. So if your introduction part is very precise and you build a success picture or a success feeling or a success word in the mind of client, you will be able to tell yourself, I did a great job just by taking this session. So have them fix a good internal dialogue in your in your coaching itself. So whether it's a passive communication through your email campaigns, make sure that you are kind of engaging them through all the senses in your introduction part. And that's what is about introducing yourself. Okay, now let's go further. Just give me a moment, let me have a sip of water. Thank you. Now, next I part is, after your introduction, that give insight to inside the client. And when is the insight here, it means that every single sense inside they make sense of has to be the essence of your all offerings. And now you begin insight to inside the client. So one word is to you open up their mind. Next word is they must get incited. Yeah, I want it. And that's where you begin implicating the client with integrity. So integrity word here, though you put in the last, but in fact it's the first word. And that begins with your first positioning yourself. Next, finding the real niche that you have in mind, matching your model, competencies, abilities with that, and even declaring, I have these many hours of coaching session, I have taken these many coaching sessions. Now you do maintain confidentiality, and I understand that is a challenge that most coaches face. That I know that we've been working with one of the MNCs, and we train 5 top leaders there, and we coach them then. And all of them, while taking coaching, they said that we don't want you to take our names ever. Now, if it was a big reference for us at the same time, though big opportunity, but at the same time, it's a good ethical practice not to ever take their names. So integrity works in at every step with the coaches, and they are in fact known for that. And because of this integrity, which also holds a kind of confidentiality as a part of integrity, is the mandatory part of a good coaching practice. However, the integrity here is also deliver them what you can offer, and that begins with offer them what you can deliver. So integrity part starts here. All right. So give the insights to coaching that triggers your client to think beyond, because if you are aware of the learning model, the people are the unconscious, unlearned, or unconscious and not competent, and then they become consciously aware of something. I don't know it. So something that you're going to deliver them, it's just around the corner, but it's not in their awareness. It's just like a newborn babies and the spouses, they are happy. And if you ask them, are you happy? They'll say, yeah, a good relationship, nice, of course, I got a kid. And the missing part here could be they are not that well intimated now. They're not in good intimate and in that kind of relationship that they might forget. And just after 6 months, 9 months, 1 month, 1 year, they might find that they are in fact more close to the kid than to each other. Okay, so give insight and trigger your client to think beyond. Okay, so state a very, very universal, undeniable truth. Like I'm stating things for you, though some of you might have a very logical mind and might come out with an idea. No. I do not know. I have seen my parents. I have seen someone. They became more closer to each other. Well, I understand that. Then, if you don't like it, find out. Find out how many undeniable such facts that you can state at that time to trigger the client, see emotional state, so that the client start focusing on what you can deliver. So here is my one more input to those people who have not been trained by us and with other institutes. And when we were trained by one of the very good institutes, I would name it, then our biggest challenge was, ask the client, tell me what is your agenda. And I always use a metaphor here. Client will always tell you to make $2 billion, and the new coaches get lost here. those of you can really seek this big piece from us. For 25 years, me and Siri both have coached many clients, and I would agree that Siri, my colleague, and another director in Alpha Stars, Siri Guru Prakash, who calls us, she has taken numerous. I can say countless because I never counted. I can say so it's countless that she's taken one-to-one session for last 20 years. I know that just after 4 or 5 years, she developed this passion to work with every single person she'll come across. And she ended up in signing many clients. And some of the most shift coaches, even right now here, even after taking the training immediately after 8 days, and they start signing up with Siri. And Siri has a good client even from the people who got trained with us. And I don't know how many of you have coaches. And if you don't have a coach, you're missing something. You're offering some people something that you are yourself not believing in. And if some internal dialogue goes in your head, yeah, I will have a coach. Right now I haven't taken a training myself, so I will have a coach sometime and let me make some money. It's a big thing. You know that every client that you will come across is potentially the client like you, who is working on something, waiting for something to happen and wanting, and is not aware of that. Whom? You. And suddenly you are appearing in the person's life and bringing in the client's awareness, something client has never heard of, coaching. And that's where you want to build your business. So your own business, possibly or probably, in fact, if you give me the liberty, would never huh, would never build up if you don't have a coach. So like me and Siri both are experienced and we have a coach. And oh my God, when we get our session, we know that and what does come out. So that's where you have to give some insight to the client, and client must find it very useful and and must start aligning the mind what you can deliver. So single line of point here is to begin, and if you're a new coach, to begin your practice, begin offering what you can deliver and start preparing the client. And this is what I can do. So let's say if you just learn to help someone setting a very clear goal, rather than asking the client, tell me what you want to accomplish. In your introduction part, say you may be wanting to accomplish many things and there could be many steps to that. My competency as in today is I can help you to become, or I can coach you to become very clear about your goal. That's my competency. Do you want to? So this is called integrity, that you're not offering anything beyond your competency, beyond what you can deliver. I remember that I was giving a same lecture and a presentation in ICF Mumbai, if somebody is right now from there. When I first time spoke to even the experienced coaches there, I found that they're awestruck. Their eyes remain open here. Because I found that hardly any institute prepare their um, students to, start offering what they can deliver. And rather than say, okay, tell me what's the agenda, what do you want to do, and client come out with can of worms which the new coach can't handle. So if you're a new coach, be careful here. If you're an experienced coach, yes, you can take risk to any amount, any degree. Okay. So next point here is that you start giving insight, state, universal client, and that like ordinary people get affected by any cause, or they lose their productivity. Let's say now if I want to coach a client on building productivity, and that famous urgent important quadrant of even Stephen Covey, and you, let's say some of you are trained in that, you want to model here, okay, how do you deal with interruptions? So would you let every cause to affect you, or do you want to be very effective when something happens around you? So if this be your competence, if this be your session, you start giving here some universal fact that, let's say the ordinary people, they get affected by any damn thing happening. Let's say if your client is the same couple, you know The ordinary couple, they easily get affected by raising the kid, and they lose their charm in the relationship, romance, intimacy, closeness. They become very close to kid. But the outstanding couple, they know that the kid is from them, and uh, their relationship is very important, and they don't get swayed by that. They even strengthen that more. They become more closer at every level, physically, mentally, emotionally, and not just because the kid, because of they are. So are you that outstanding, or are you just an ordinary one? So here you have to give them some powerful insight which really provoke them and start triggering in them, right? So irrespective of anything, you give them a very wonderful insight which is so universal. So prepare which always I can for my each single session, what are possible insights I can give before I start inciting them. So then you incite them, what more pain or gain now you can show the client to incite the client who needs more than insight. So here you can start building up chunks. These are the small things, they will become difficult for them or are difficult in their life. What are they working on? So you start inciting the client, and the way to incite the client is, some people get driven by the pain they might face right now, are facing or not in their awareness, or you bring in the long term in their mind, or the gain that's now they have or they can have or they would have, so that they get incited by. So clearly mention the outcome of the session and the benefits specific to the session also. So according to the session and according to what are they working on and what's going on in their life and what are they wanting and waiting to happen, possibly bring one by one everything they might, every sort of pain and every sort of gain. And you might do through your passive communication, you might through your emails, through your presentation, through your webinars, whichever way you can do it. But the net is that the client must become aware of, because this is the only way the human being get driven. Either you're working for some pain to get rid of in your life, something to fix in their life, or you want some extra piece to decorate your life, so some gain in life. So that is how you start inciting the client. So thereafter, um, you start implicating them, that you have to be very, very thoughtful here, that now, because you have noticed the signal, if you are personally present before them and through their mails, if they write to you, or through over the phone if they talk to you, that when they are getting little implicated into the net of growth, I would say, when you have laid a good net is not only to catch the fish. Okay, net, if you have seen near the building, is to safeguard you. So if you're building a net over the client, and the client is getting now implicated to, in fact, have some extra value in the client. So you have laid a good boundary for the client to look into. You have shifted the mental focus of the client to start looking into that, what client is wanting and what possible pain or gain. Chunk up and chunk down. Like, some clients are very, very global in nature. They want large chunk information, big picture, but not everyone wants big picture. You're going to ask them a question that focus on their small shapes, or small kind of pains they want to get rid of. I'll just take an example of the same newly born uh, baby's parents. I mean, you know that when you want to sit a bit extra time and you want to share a good piece of news, how much you have to wait for that good news to share, just because you're with the kid or kid demand your attention. Now, so maybe a small chunk or a big chunk. Here, those people who are trained with the innermost shift coaches know that the people are global and specific, and they can build around so many things. And some people are global, specific, and different at the same time. That means they would need some parallel metaphor and not related to their own life if you talk to them about their life, they're going to deny that. Okay, so you're going to find some example. What is it like? So state what the client will get with your help. So you would say, well, using the best life sciences, adopting the best life ancient practices, or systematically working with you in a very structured session, taking a little bit time, just maybe in a once in a fortnight, once in a month, whatever you have to offer here, keep passing bit of the information here so that you implicate the client in what you're going to deliver. Because the same problem that you're trying to solve, client has. In fact, there are numerous, endless solutions available, and client's mind is running in all the direction. Although you have done the introduction part well, but some people might start asking, oh, ma, what do you think that you're going to supply us a good maid for that? Or you might say, okay, are you offering me a good charm or maybe a good lucky stone to get to my goal? I mean, client's mind will every moment wander. And though I haven't introduced that part, maybe next time, that's where the more shift coaches are in fact trained, that before they put the client to any of this process, they awaken the client so much of inner knowing, and they then start introducing the client, and then they make sure that the client remains absolutely focused on what's going to be delivered at the end of it. So here what do you offer them? So implicate them into boundary, draw a line. What are you going to offer them? So using these tools, maybe helping you change your perspective if you're working on relationship too. I use a very specific tool for you to, in fact, develop your own perspective about, how can you love your spouse more when you have a newborn kid, and what could be the possible times and which ways. So though there are a variety of ways that you can build intimacy and relationship, I'll help you using specific these 3 tools or these 6 ways in my 6 different sessions. So be clear that when you offer your help, you can I can help you to make the innermost shift. Now, like for example, the innermost shift coaches work at 3 levels. There are some success models very popular in the market. They work on the success goal. Okay, tell me tomorrow onward how much time you will sit with your spouse, and they are right away on a goal of 2 hours, 3 hours. Okay, or a behavioral goal. How would you help the your spouse to in change your behaviors? So this is the second level. But the innermost shift coach work at the very deep innermost shift level. That's where in the introduction part, those who are innermost shift coaches here, in the introduction part, they have to learn even stating that that I coach people to make innermost shift apart from the behavioral and the performance shift they are waiting for, which even any coaching model can offer. But we work at the innermost shift level. So that's where we work at the 3 behavioral level. And for that those who are present here, they use the best pattern here, and they set the internal goals as well as. Okay, so your introduction has not to be I am this, I am that. It has to be I do this for you. I make the innermost shift, and the shift happens. And shift by shift, I'll make 3 shifts happen in you in my 3 sessions. So that's here example also. So I can help you make the innermost shift to be the cause to be very effective and feel good. So it could be any session you are working for. Like for example, this text that you're seeing, those who are not aware of, is for a very outstanding leader who has to turn around the company, and the company could have several causes they are affecting the leader. Like for example, people like Obama, people like Modi ji, when they take over, I'm not a politician, nor do I favor any politics. Just to mention that challenges in their life are huge, numerous, but they know that how to be the cause. And like for example, right now in demonetization or taking several steps like GST, there are many critics, and their own friends are also critics. So the Prime Minister's own friends are critics. So there are several causes affecting them. But if he gets affected by everything, what will happen? His mind will deviate. So this text that you're seeing, those who are watching this slide, is from a one good tool that we have, that, that we train our coaches to, uh, how to be a turnaround leader, how to be an outstanding leader, how to be a leader who takes up a company into the severe losses and turn around into unmatchable profits. All right. So likewise, you have to draw something here very powerful implication by stating to them what tools you want to offer them. Okay. And the next step is integrity here. Integrity is drawn from the same part, that what are you offering, your honesty, integrity, and that these are very, very big terms. And those who are aware of the neuro-linguistic terms, they are very big nominalizations. So people have different meaning for different nominalizations, such words. Now, how do you really, really make your client aware of what does your integrity means, and what's the scope of your integrity, what does honesty means, and what do your confidentiality means here. So until you have stated well, let me give you one example here, that how we got into some trap of confidentiality here. That we were working with um, so-called a medical organization, a wellness organization, which has 8 or 9 or 10, I think, top leaders, and 7 were assigned to us. And in the very first session, we had that we maintained the confidentiality. And out of that, the one person said, "All right, I understand what coaching is, but I think the way you have explained to me and the kind of commitment you're looking for, um, I won't be able to take up the sessions." Now, just after the sessions, we had to give the presentation to the management, and we very openly and honestly declare that out of your all leaders, one leader is not willing to take coaching. And in turn, they invited the leader, and the chairman invited the leader. And here he laid a good trap for it. He said, they just said that they maintain confidentiality, and they haven't maintained confidentiality. Now, look at that. Until you have told the scope. Like, for example, if you have your coach's GST number and it's confidential, but the government asks you, you're going to declare it. So you cannot say that if client has paid you X amount money and some authorities who are appropriate and legal, they are asking you. So until you declare everything in your contract, so this is where you start building up the integrity. So integrity, honesty, and the confidentiality here has a big meaning. And in the context of 7 eyes, it has a very specific meaning, that you offer them what you can deliver, and you declare them what you have done so far. If you haven't handled a single client of the nature of the client, just before you very openly tell them that, hey, I haven't handled a single client who has this kind of a goal, or who's wanting this kind. You're my very first client, and I'm very happy to have you here. So declaring this would, in fact, will open up, and the client would start appreciating. And those of you believe in energy shift, the kind of energy shift you will start experiencing here, and it will be tremendous, it will be great here. So integrity here means that be careful. How will you help the client solve the problem? How will you keep client on all those 11 competencies? So declaring them, your interactive model, that this is where you're going to tell them that you are expert in your area, and I have also a great expertise, and my expertise is in giving you all the good insight. My expertise in helping you to consolidate and, in fact, start focusing on the real issue. And my questions will help you that. Though I do not know which issue is very important, my competency is asking you very, very good question. My competency is that I can be fully present to you and keep you fully present to the issue. And my competency is also to, in fact, listen to you greatly, deeply, and make you really feel listen. And then I ask question, and I'm very, very good in asking question. That's where my competency is. And my question will do help you to raise your awareness, and I'll help you to come out with your own goals and your own agenda and your own plan of action. That's what my competency is. So integrity here and honesty here is that make sure that you're not taking a headache and you're not also giving a headache to the client. So you are so honest, you're so clear, and integrity, honesty, and confidentiality or any value that you declare even in your mission statement or in your value statement or your value building statement, explain them, because they will have very abstract meaning and client will point out things to you. All right. So this is how about the final eyes. And I would say the you're gonna, everything has to be only to build up, raise the awareness about the importance of what client is missing, what client can be delivered, and that's what the at the end of it the client has to become really very interested. Yeah, I'm interested, and they must invite you. Yeah, come on, yes, Mr. So and so, or Miss or Mrs. So and so, or your coach, I want this session. So you ensure that the client reflect on the change will your session will bring in client's life, and how important it is, and client really feel good and or feel the pain of it. And if required, ask more questions till you sense that the internal shift has really happened, and really you really build a powerful state of invitation. That client is inviting you. Yes, you take a strategic session with me. You take my session with you. Give me an experience, and that's all the 7 I's is about. So I would end that. What will you say to such client that this is your most impactful statement? And I can coach you. I can I coach you to feel good for no damn reason. And using very systematically designed tool here, I work with this IC probe gap structured session with you, and in one session, and I'll follow up 3 more sessions. So you make a very impactful statement which sums up your entire thing that you have said, so that the client's invitation to you is irresistible. So we call it irresistible communication. So client can't resist. Clients get tempted to invite you as one a value adder, and you are adding value to the client's mind and client's life. So some question that you can use in your coaching session. Here is a gift for you. You might use anywhere you like. That what will happen if you don't solve the problem or get the desired outcome. Here I want to mention that people have, time constraints. People have the budget constraint. People have the intimacy, coordination, cooperation constraint. So do mention that. What will happen if you don't save time? What will happen if you don't start reaching before time to your office? What will happen if you don't start delivering the product to the quality? What will happen if you exceed the budget? So do mention that. So what will be the cost of not fixing the problem or achieving the outcome? What will it cost to the department or the organization? And what will it cost you? Or if your team doesn't meet the timeline, or if your family member don't support you in your goal, okay, what will it cost to the person you are caring for? Then what is the gap between the effort you are presently putting in or the efforts possibly you can? How would it help if you have more time for your personal growth, health, and hobbies? So design your session very specifically here and ask questions accordingly. Like for example, some of the normal shift coaches also can note it down. You might say, I'm a work-life balance coach, or you might say, I help people to regain work-life balance when they shift their jobs or when they get extra burden of new responsibilities. So as specific you are, orient these questions accordingly. And there is a array of questions you can design like this. I really wish every one of you the best, irrespective of which background, experience, or what kind of coach you are. It's straight from a heart of the Alpha Stars and the Innermost Shift coaching team who has organized this entire this webinar for you. So let's take your questions one by one, if I can answer you in the time that is left.
Okay, so what we will do is, all the participants, please raise your hands, okay? And One by one, whoever wants to speak, we will keep unmuting them. Okay. Yes, Praveen. Hello. Praveen, you want to say something? Okay. Reshma?
Uh, I want to thank each and everyone for this wonderful session. And since I am uh, from your last batch itself, I wanted to share some experience after I had done this NLP practitioners course from Best NLP Alpha Star.
Okay.
And it was really wonderful experience, sir. And before that, my coaching journey was not very smooth and fruitful, but I think, sir, within a span of 11 months I have made good progress. And I would like to direct that I had made a specific goals, and I have achieved all three of them, sir.
Great.
Excellent, excellent.
So so I wanted to really thank that it was value for money
Good. Keep on,
and
keep
the
on.
guidance. I thank you, sir.
Great,
Thank
Reshma.
you.
Thank you.
Anyone else has anything to say? Please raise your hand. Sandeep. Yes, Sandeep.
Give
Yeah,
coaching
Sandeep.
currently. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
Sandeep. Yes.
Yeah, good evening. First of all, thank you for the wonderful session and sharing the insights. I think it does help. I have just started to get into coaching, so I am not from your institute, but I am undergoing ICF coaching
Great.
currently. Uh, and it certainly helps to know that, yes, the when we start coaching and there's questions about what's your problems and you get a whole lot of worms and you don't know where to start. Sometimes in my own office, I'm also working currently. So when you engage with colleagues, uh, you sometimes wonder that, yes, although you believe in coaching, but sometimes the problems seem so different to you that, would this get solved by coaching? How will it be? Because this is something, very, very situational, that this is about this situation here.
Mhm.
But as you have, just communicated in this last session here, that it's also important to know what you can deliver. So I really like that part, that yes, what you can deliver, and not just be trying to solve every problem and the complete aspect of coaching right from discovery mode till the outcome.
Great,
So
Sandeep. Um, if I heard you completely and correctly, these 7 eyes are a very good way for organization development. Also, as you mentioned that, and therein also the internally you can't sell. I haven't much liked the idea of internally selling. I have always liked the idea of internally raising the people's awareness, and the people must invite you to coach them. So if you follow these 7 eyes, it will really help you, apart from the other things that you're doing in a very good efforts, to get invitation from people. And when people invite you in their life or coaching session, your entire coaching session will be very different. Uh, I wish you all the best and continue doing it, put in more things. If you want to ask few more things, you can write to us. We'll definitely reply you.
sure, I will do that. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Hi, Vijay. Vijay, you typed a question. Can you please share the question with everyone?
Yeah. Hi, Pooja. Hi, sir. Hi, Siri, ma'am.
Hi.
Yes.
Actually, I experienced this the client shifted his goals actually, and after a few sessions, then how can we proceed, sir?
Okay. Now, first assess your own competency. That though you can always ask questions and you can help people to, um, people have the right to decide the new goals for themselves. Yet, if you are using some specific tools and you are not prepared for that, and you need some extra sessions for that, pause here. They are called, generative illumination, and they will do happen. So you can ask which of this is very important for you now. Should we continue working on A that you have worked with me, or as you have found the importance in B, do you want to start a B with me? And then be sure that learn from this experience. And next time you're in coaching contract or coaching agreement, do mention that if something erupts or something shows up from the illumination that you get or the awareness that you get raised, how would we handle it? What are the provision we have kept for that? And expect that you're going to be very busy. So it's not that if client has just come up with a goal and tomorrow you can take a session. So make sufficient provision for that, that I will take in a week's time a session, or we will reschedule it, or it will be a replacement of the session. And be honest here. Okay? That can you
Yes,
offer something
but
here?
how can we integrate that into our contract, sir?
How can you, yeah, like this only, that you have
Uh-huh.
kept a good provision that if the new goals show up, we will re-sign the contract and add them as an
Okay,
extra
okay,
hours. Okay?
okay.
See,
Thank
Vijay,
you, sir.
that is also if the contract is finishing, right?
Ha ha
But
ha ha
if you have set up a goal and you're doing the session, and in between the client takes up another goal, and
ha
find out that you need more sessions, so you can
ha
always
ha.
send the contract telling the client that this is another goal we have come up. So it might take up 3 or 4 sessions according to the requirement of what the client is telling you. Then that could be also
Okay, okay.
right.
Right. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Yes, Hemant, you wanted to say something. Hemant.
Yes, Hemant?
Yes, can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. So my name is Hemant Deshpande, and sir, thank you very much for conducting this session. Really appreciate your time and valuable inputs. I have a question regarding, uh, you know, many of the clients, after speaking to them for the first time in an exploratory session, which is a free session which I offer, all of them, or let me say most of them, they really like the experience, and they also tell me that yes, definitely this coaching is going to help me in what I am looking at. And then they say that, okay, let me get back to you,
Mm.
or I am not ready right now, but I will definitely contact you once I am ready.
Mm.
So in your experience, what has worked for you in those situations?
Okay. What do you think is the missing link here?
If you ask me, I think urgency is missing from their side. Could be,
And
could
what is
be,
missing in your
my
assessment
guess.
about the client?
I cannot hear you.
What is missing in your assessment or qualifying the client for the session?
What is missing? No, I don't see anything missing as such.
Mm.
Maybe, I mean, I try my best to give maximum value in the session so that they feel
Mm.
that, the challenge that they are dealing with
Mm.
can be solved.
Mm.
And as you mentioned, the insights, the tools, the methodology, what will be available to them if their
Mm.
problem gets solved. right? If they achieve their goal. So I cover all of that in my exploratory session. So if you ask me frankly, I don't see anything that is missing. But if you see something or in your experience, that will really help.
I can give my experience, and that won't help much. Yet, let me ask you another question here. That do you have a coach?
Sure.
Do you have a coach?
Yes, I have.
And have you taken ever this agenda in your coaching session?
Yes, I have.
So, what has been the outcome?
Yeah. So yes, my coach has recommended a few things and which I am trying out. Yes. So yeah, so there has been certain improvement in terms of conversion rate. But still that, I mean, still that is happening in bits and pieces. Just 2 days back, I spoke to a client, spent about good 45 minutes to 1 hour. That client was completely convinced that, this is what, will work for me. And, I really like, she was comfortable talking to me and she said that, yes, definitely I need this. And then she told me that, yes, I will get back to you. And what email I get today is that right now I'm not ready, but I will definitely contact you once I am ready. So I'm kind of perplexed at that. And
okay, now because time is a little short, so I can give you a straight supply but reply. Here you have not qualified the client's coachability. So a client undergoing a coaching session but is not serious about taking the coaching further is not a coachable client. He is just a passing client who just want to experience and pass away. Like, in the Baskin Robbins, you go there and people want to take a taste and walk off. He is not a customer, he's a taster. So this person wants to have a taste but doesn't want to buy that. So if you will take your coaching sessions proper, you would really know how do I qualify my client, and do not hurry up in offering what I have to anyone, only those who need it. Okay, so positioning yourself, finding the right client niche for that, and what you can really do and how it impacts them, and then asking. I like a very experienced coach asking two big questions which I started asking to people. Do you have time and do you have money? Both. If this session proves worth to you, if they say no, I don't go further. So if they have committed to this, yes, they won't say, let me get back. So you have to put in your introduction well that only those who have an experience and they have time and money, it really works. Do you have this both? I'm the fit for that.
And I would just like to add, since you are a coach, and yes, it's like you go to a number of clients and you have to go to, it's not a rule that you will go to every client and every client will come back to you, right? So if you've said the word perplexed, I really understand and appreciate what happens in the mind, when you give such a wonderful session and the person is ready on the face of it, but then you get a mail like that. So somewhere, as Sat is rightly saying, the client is actually not ready. So the best question to ask is that, are you ready to spend this much amount of money and time? So I'll come and give a demo session to you, right? Start at the first point itself. Otherwise your time is equally precious. But yes, you have to make such kind of demos more in numbers, so you get the right client as well. So both the things have to go hand in hand.
And let me add one more thing. They're all your post-dated checks, not issued to yet. So wait for them to cash. Is that okay?
Hello, Hemant. Can you hear us? Yes, Subhash, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, good evening, Sat Siri Madam and Prosperity.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Actually, I joined it late since I finished a spillover of meeting happened, but I could attend for almost 45 minutes. It is after almost more than 3 weeks, I was not feeling much energized. This will, give me a boost so that I can finish whatever is pending, and next 1 week I can think of 2 clients.
Great.
Well, thank you.
Deepak, can you share your question now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good evening and thanks for the session. It's always helpful listening to you, sir. My question was basically around this contracts, right? We have this contract which we take some guidance from ICF as well to sign off with the client. Now, typically, when you go to a company, they want to have it vetted with their legal, just because it's part of process. Not that that contract really has anything like that, but and typically is time consuming. Just want to know if anyone's experienced working without a signed off paper contract and work more on verbal agreements. What's the experience around that?
See, I won't recommend, because something is not put in black and white might trouble you.
So
And
from the monetary part of it, the financial engagement is documented, yeah, because they will not pay you without something in writing on that. But as far as the terms and conditions of the coaching agreement, that part, tends to take a long time, only because it's process. So
Deepak,
I'm not talking about monetary, the exchange of compensation is documented and signed off. Yeah.
okay, Deepak, if you're signing a contract with the organization and it is like an executive coaching, right? So you have many things in the contract where it is clearly mentioned that a coach will not share the privacy of the client even with the management. So until unless you really put these terms in black and white and give it to them, it can be a fallback, you know. So best is that you put it in writing, even if it takes time, is just okay. But that contract should be signed very properly, mentioning all the terms and agreements. And we have also one of the contracts, if you have you already have the ICF manual which we have given it to you, so a contract is already there. And if you're facing some kind of a difficulty, you can just write back to us and we'll tell you how to really formulate the words. We can do that also with that.
Difficulty is only basically the time they take to really vet it and get back. So what I currently do is, while I get the compensation part documented and signed off, I at least send them the contract that these are the terms on which I work,
Yeah.
and they signed off my end, and then it's for the client to
See,
confirm
that's
that.
always good, but because since they are going through a legal procedure, so it is always good whatever is written in black and white, it is there in your hands and their hands as well. So we recommend that
I
it
send
should be there.
I send them the agreement. It's just getting it signed off that takes too long
Yeah.
sometimes.
So that's fine. That's fine. In the meanwhile, you can start your coaching and let the agreement come in the due time. Let them see the legal people see it. It's all fine. I think it's a part of the process, Deepak.
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
for your safety, how much safe you want to feel. And it's for their, I would say it's an assurance agreement more than a contractual agreement. And then if you mention the process you will use, tool you will use, will also keep you safe that you haven't done anything which is beyond their awareness. Okay?
Yeah, and if you look at the ICF terms, basically 90% of it is protecting the client.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's,
Right.
yeah. So okay, fair.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, Manmohan, you can hear us.
Hi, Sat sir. Hi, Shri ma'am.
Hi.
I will first of all I'll say it was the excellent experience and hearing you after a long time, sir. And I will also compliment that the kind of different standards you are maintaining in the market is really highly appreciable. You are the really the team which is followed by everyone and is a dream team.
Thank
Because
you.
I'm in contact with few people. Now I'm coming to my question. Uh, just yesterday I was recommended by some of my friend who is a commissioner, and moment I was sitting in front of that client, and then during my conversation he was saying that he knows everything and he has the solution of everything, whereas uh, when I got appointment, it was sounding that he will give me chance to present and puts solution to things.
So, question?
Sir, why it happened like? Means he was not open when I started communication with
We don't
him.
ask a why
Yeah.
question. We don't answer why. Move to the
So,
next client is a good question. Good strategy. So, solution is move to the next client. Okay. So do
and
not dig the
while
things where nothing is hidden.
while getting the appointment, it was very hopeful and recommended by a very nice person. So I thought that something will happen good, but he was not at all open into the conversation.
Okay. So I want to say, people say, I want to dig a hole. We never dig a hole. We dig a earth. If you dig a hole, nothing is there. So dig a hole. Okay.
Okay. And sometimes this provoking questions I could not use even there.
Okay. So get more trained.
Okay. Sure, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
And rather he didn't give me chance to do that.
For that also you get trained.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure, sir.
Anybody else? Anybody else has any question?
Yes, Ajit.
Hi, Siri.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just joined right now because I was driving.
Acha,
I
okay.
joined very late for this.
You could have been
Like
little
I
more late, यार क्या फर्क पड़ता था?
Yeah, that's typical Sat. I take it. Well, this is like I'm in the process of you doing this coaching. I've been doing this,
Mm-hmm.
and now I have still, I have to start doing this for outside people. I've done this for a couple of outside people, but then I want to take it out, you know, uh, reach out to clients outside of my company also.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something interesting that don't sell coaching, and I mean that's how do I market myself like?
So you return the session when next time we have it.
Yeah.
We'll send you a recording, I know. So
Okay, okay. You can send me the recording. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
okay. Anyone else? Anyone else need to ask something? Yes, Adi. Can you hear us?
Hi. Yeah.
Yeah, hi. Adi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Hi. Good evening.
Good evening.
So I really love the presentation. I am not part of the coaching side. I've been more into delivery, pre-sales, other kind of role. But coaching is something I'm really, keen on getting into. So would my question is, would getting into through NLP would that be the right channel, or should I be doing something else and then doing the NLP? How does the whole thing work?
Okay, this require you just go through our website, the Innermost Shift Coaching, and if you have heard the people praising and telling their experiences, you can use it for your own understanding. So Innermost Shift Coaching is our website. Go through that, find for yourself that.
And Adi, you can share us with your number on the. We have sent you one email ID, so you can just share your number and email ID. We'll send you the recording as well. Right on the chat, you
Right.
can just mention numbers. So we'll probably talk to you tomorrow and explain you things about it.
Sure. I'll just drop you a message.
And
I'll
thanks
do
for
that.
coming in. Since you even didn't know coaching, but you came in, it's so nice of you. Good.
Not a problem at all.
And
Thank you so much.
either way, these 7 eyes, even if you use in your selling, or even if you use with your relationship, it will help you.
Right. I believe you're going to take us, I think, the NLP training in Pune, I think in December, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, there is a workshop in Pune. You're from Pune?
I am in Pune.
Awesome, perfect. So just share your number on the chat. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Sure. I'll do that. I'll do that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Anyone else need to ask anything? So any further questions, or then we close the session? So
Okay.
thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All of you. It was a pleasure having you. And the people who are not with us, kindly share your email IDs on the chat so that we can send you a recording of the session.
Okay, bye-bye. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night, ma'am and
Good night.
sir. Thank you so
Good night.
much.
Good night,
Thank you,
sir.
Gautam.
Good night, ma'am. Yeah.